All right. Thank you very much for joining. This is our inaugural blog, if you will, for Resident Realty. Figured it was appropriate to have the founder, CEO, Craig Plants, with us today. Tell us a little bit about the company and where we came from, where we're going, and what we do for agents, and hopefully that translates to their clients. So thanks for coming down today. I appreciate it.
You bet. Well, Resident Realty came out of a business that I was part of before 2000. In 1995, a couple partners of mine and we started the first company in the country to take MLS listings, put them on the internet. And in doing that, we grew to about 80% of the real estate data in Colorado.
So wait, you did what now?
So we took all the MLS listings that brokers wanted us to, put them on a website, and then we generated leads back to those brokers.
So you were...
It was called Colorado Real Estate Online.
So
we were Realtor.com
what,
before they were.
You were doing, you were Zillow before Zillow was Zillow.
Yeah, we were Realtor.com before they were. They were doing something called RIN at the time. They did develop outside of Colorado. We developed here in Colorado, got to a very large size to where they weren't able to break in. Ultimately, Scripps Howard bought that company from us, and they did it because we were replacing their real estate ads. So that worked out pretty well for us. And what I did when I started working with that company, I was a salesman. I went around to almost every real estate office in the state. And in doing that, I noticed some inefficiencies the way brokers treated their agents, not only company to company, but within companies. They would charge them differently. Sometimes agents who had been in the business the same amount of time and did the same amount of volume would pay their brokerage different amounts. So I thought it would be interesting to start a transaction-based model. So in 2000, that's what Resident Realty was. After we sold that company, Colorado Real Estate Online, I started Resident Realty and started putting software behind it to where I could manage the entire business model of agents and do it and keep their transaction fee at a constant. That way we weren't taking advantage. I'd never, and the way I never wanted agents to come to me and say, hey, wait, you're charging this person differently than you're charging this person. I didn't want to be in that environment. So, I didn't want to be in that conversation.
Congratulations on your 20th anniversary.
Thank you. Yep, 20th
If I had a
this
beer,
year.
I'd cheers you right now, but 20 years, that's awesome.
Yeah, 20 years ago we started Resident Realty and it was just me, and now we're about over 600 agents here in Colorado. We have an office in Texas. We've got some different offices here in Colorado. You and I collectively are going into Arizona. And it's all around the exact same model, where we're going to be a transaction-based model. Now, there's other, what they call 100% brokerage firms out there. None of them are like we are. We charge $50 a month, $300 per closed transaction, and that's it. We don't.
That's it. There's no franchise fee.
Nope.
There's no administrative fees, technology fees. Nope. There's no commission splits.
Nope. There's nothing added on top of that.
And it's always been that since you started day one.
Correct. It's never changed.
Never deviated.
And the goal of that was really to make sure that I thought, and believe me, I got advice from one of my mentors, Peter Niederman, who was with Moore and Company, Bill Moore's son-in-law. And then he bought Kentwood Company, and I was getting advice from Peter on this, and we both agreed that at that point in time, when I started this company, let's create something that people have to go back to where I can get good at operating a business model on this price structure. And then when things change, which we all knew would, with the agencies out there right now trying to really compress commissions, trying to compress the profit out there, let's give those people something that they're going to have to strive to get back to us, and that gives us longevity in the business.
So where'd you come up with 300? Why 300?
Seriously, it was arbitrary. It was completely arbitrary when it came up. And then the $50 a month was always based on, I wanted something low, but something consistent. And the business has been built to where everything's operated out of the $50 monthly fee. So our office fees now, we have multiple offices.
Where are those?
They are in Colorado Springs, South Metro Denver, North Metro Denver, and then Northern Colorado.
Okay.
Pretty much a straight line down I-25, you can get to any of those offices. We are now looking at opening, we've got a couple that are looking to open in the mountain towns. And, stay tuned on that. You and I collectively are getting ready to do one in Arizona.
Correct.
And that'll be a be kind of a fun thing to go sit right next to some of our competitors' front door and see how we do down
Where
there.
it's not snowing and there's some golf courses.
Exactly, we can see a little tan.
There you go.
But so that's really what Resident Realty is about, was making sure that we could pay for all those fees under the $50 monthly fee, and the $300 became a profit center for us. That way, if the market goes like it did in 2008, we don't have to close our offices down. We don't have to make any major changes because the market's had such a dip.
Right.
And it's worked out pretty well so far. So
Well, and the thing is, so I joined you, what, 8 years ago now,
Yep.
something like
Yep.
that. And the thing that I know that I've noticed, and hopefully all the agents notice as well, is that that $300 fee, it's not going into your pocket. You're putting it back in to the business.
Correct.
So we'll talk about that here in a little bit. All of the different things that the agents actually get for that $50 a month and $300 a transaction. But when you first started, you were with another company, probably on a split or something like that, right?
Yep, that's correct.
And everybody probably thought you were nuts. Like, there's no way Plants is ever going to be able to operate a business
Exactly.
in that model.
Yeah, I was with Perry and Butler. I was with Moore and Company. I was with a little company down in Denver called Hanover Ehrlich. All of my splits, the best split I was ever on was a 70-30 split.
Right. And for those that might be brand new in the business, never, they're just catching this right now and they don't know what the split actually means. A split house means that literally you're splitting your commission with the brokerage firm. And, we've seen crazy stuff from 50-50, 70-20, 70-30 or whatever, but that was pretty typical at the time, was a 70-30 split.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, 60-40. When I was at Coldwell Banker, it was 60-40 on top of a $200 or $300 a month desk fee.
Right.
It was pretty expensive to be there. And when I realized what it was they were producing, I knew I could still provide those items through technology. And so that worked out. That's where I think my knowledge coming out of the .com world helped me to develop the right tools and systems.
So that was your background before you got into this crazy business. You were IT.
Well, I really wasn't. I was sales in the .com world. I had to learn the IT stuff. My partners and I, there were just three of us that maintained the system, and sometimes I'd have to know a little bit about the technology so I could sell it to somebody.
Mm-hmm.
So I really just read the books and learned it that way. He was the genius behind that website and how we got all the data and stuff like that.
So, looking back, over the last 20 years, I mean, we've both seen a ton. I haven't been with you that long, but seen a ton of changes and stuff like that in the business. There's been other competitors that have come along. Some have gone, some are still here, doing a similar program to what you're doing as far as a flat transaction fee. But I'm sure you've seen the same thing. They change.
Right.
They come in and they change their transaction fees or their monthly fees based on what the competition's doing.
Or they add.
Or they add more money. They get you in for this, and then they start adding extra
They
stuff.
add up other things that they can get you for. A lot of them will say the first deal of every year is going to be a little bit more. It's not the standard transaction fee, but that's
Right.
the first deal. But annually that comes around, things like that. We do things that help agents go backwards. If an agent refers 4 people who join our company and are with us all at the same time, we waive their monthly fee for life. So we go backwards, and we've got some little situations like that. We have a couple of a la carte things that we offer as well. Transaction coordination's a big deal. All of our transaction coordinators are resident realty agents, licensed agents, and they manage utilizing all the tools and services we offer. They charge per file for the agents, and they're not required.
Right, it's optional for them.
It's optional, but we want to make sure it's available.
So we're going to interview them in one of our later segments. I'll bring in a couple of the TCs and kind of get into the nuts and bolts of that. But it's something that I don't know of that any other company has. I mean, there's other transaction coordination companies out there, but not anything that's generated inside of a company and requires them to have a real estate license.
Well, I
which is
remember
pretty cool.
we were together in a meeting with our head TC before they had their company together, and we came up with that model on how they could build it as a company instead of just having these individuals out there on their own. And I remember that meeting, and it's grown very rapidly. I think she has six with her right now, or 5 including her. And they're doing a very good job. They know all of the stuff that we provide. and they also will transact a deal here and there. So they're in tune to what it is.
Yeah, they've
that
got
we're
their fingers
offering.
on the
Yeah.
pulse of the market too.
Yeah.
And you know me, I mean,
Absolutely.
I won't do a deal without Tiffany.
Sure.
She's incredible.
Sure.
So even if it's a new build construction where we seemingly don't have as much to do, I guess, if you will, very little to do on a new build construction, she still handles everything she's got to.
Well, after you've been in this business as long as we have, and now you're dealing with the volume of transactions that we're dealing with, we're seeing Dora come after different types of complaints. And those that have the transaction coordinator involved, if nothing else, have a better reporting structure. This is what I did, this is how I did it, this is what I said to that person, here's a list of the different conversations. It's because they had a TC involved. There's a few people who've done that without, but of course they have to maintain, and at a flat fee of $300 a file, it seems kind of rational to me.
Absolutely. I mean, it's very inexpensive for
Yep.
what they do. Hopefully they don't
Yep.
see this particular portion of the show and then start hiking their rates. So
Right.
we are going to take, we'll be back in another segment. We're going to take a commercial break here real quick. We have a sponsor that's probably going to pay for some commercial time or something. Surprise. But we'll take a quick break and then we'll come back here in a little bit and talk a little bit more about the structure and stuff like that and the different tools that we have.
Okay.
Cool. Thanks. Thanks again for your time today. If you want to know more about Resident Realty or to see the video in its entirety, click one of the links below and don't forget to subscribe and like us.